Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing 5 farmhouse style Valentine's Day decor DIYs that are all affordable and really easy to create. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Now let's go ahead and jump right into today's projects. For DIY number 1, I'm making a wooden decorative house. For this one, I'm using this love paper from Hobby Lobby, and I'm also using this wooden block shape house from Michaels. I'm first placing the wooden house shape onto my paper and then using a pen to trace all the way around it. Once I have it all traced, then I'm using some scissors to cut that shape out. Now that I have my paper all cut out, I'm then painting on this matte Mod Podge along the back side of my paper, and I am making sure to get a lot of that Mod Podge around all of the edges of my paper so that they don't curl up once I place it on the front piece of my wood, and that is what you will see me doing here. And I just make sure that I have all of the bubbles out of the piece of paper, and then I let that sit and dry for about 15 minutes. Some of my paper did hang over the front edges of my wood, so to cut those down a little bit, I used some sandpaper and just sanded around all of the edges to get that extra paper off. I have seen Jennifer from A Little Bit of Calm and Crazy do this, so I started giving it a try and it works so well. Once all of my edges were all sanded, I then wanted to make sure that everything was sealed on the front and then around all of the edges too, so that those don't curl up. So I just placed some more of that matte Mod Podge over top, and then I let that sit for another 15 minutes just to make sure that it all has dried. Once the Mod Podge was all dry, I then took my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ink and a small paintbrush, and I painted that color around all of the sides of the house, and then I also did the back side of the house the same color. I did use a small paintbrush so that I could get more precise lines when painting right around those edges where I have the paper. I did the painting after I sanded because I knew if I sanded first that all of my paint would come off, and I only did one coat of this paint around the sides and then the back as well. Next, I'm using one of these heart stickers from Dollar Tree. The one I'm using for this project is the unfinished wooden one, and I'm painting that with my folk art chalk paint in the color Tuscan Red. I love this color because it's a little bit more of a deeper red and not so bright, and it goes perfect with farmhouse and rustic decor. After the paint is all dry, I'm then hot gluing my heart to the very front side of my wooden house over top of my paper. Then I'm adding a piece of jute, and I'm hot gluing that jute along the back side of my house just so that it holds it into place. I'm then wrapping that jute around the front of the house about 3 times, and then I'm taking the 2 ends of the jute and I'm hot gluing those along the back side to hold them into place. And just to add a little bit more detail, I'm using a small piece of jute and I'm making a really simple bow out of the jute, and then I'm hot gluing that bow right in the front center of my heart. And this is my decorative wooden house all finished. This was such an easy and affordable project, and it goes perfect as an accent piece on a tiered tray. Now moving into DIY number 2, I'm making wooden XO blocks. For this one, I'm using 4 of these cube blocks from this pack of blocks from Hobby Lobby. I'm also using my Craft Smart wood stain in the color brown, and this is from Michaels. I'm first starting by using an old towel to apply the stain to all 4 of my cube blocks. This is a water-based stain and it dries really, really fast, so I love it, and you guys will see me using it in a lot of my projects. I'm also going to be using 2 of these unfinished mini wooden hearts from Dollar Tree. These did come in the value pack of wood that you can now get at Dollar Tree, and I'm painting them with my folk art chalk paint in the color Tuscan Red, and I did 1 coat of paint on each heart. I'm using 2 of these X Scrabble letter blocks, and I picked these ones up from Dollar General, and they come in a pack of 60. I'm then taking the first X and I'm hot gluing that onto my first cube. I'm then taking the first heart that I painted and I'm hot gluing that onto the second cube, and then I'm hot gluing the second X to my third cube and then my second heart to my fourth cube. And you'll see here that I have all of the cubes glued together with beads in between, but I ended up not liking that and I took it all apart, which you'll see here in a second. So I didn't show myself gluing it all together because I just really didn't like how it looked. So once I had it all taken apart, I'm then just hot gluing all 4 of my cubes together, going X and then like O for the heart, and then X and then another heart. And that was pretty much it for this project. I think it was super easy and I really love how this one turned out. This project, just like the last one, works perfect as an accent piece and great on a tiered tray like I have it paired here. Now moving into DIY number 3, I'm making an XOXO picture. For this one, I'm using one of the 5x7 canvases from Dollar Tree and my utility knife. I'm taking my utility knife and I'm cutting around all of the outside edges of the staples because I'm cutting this canvas off of its frame. You want to be really careful when doing this and make sure that you use a sharp utility knife. This will help from actually cutting yourself if you have a nice sharp knife. Once I have it all cut around all of the edges of my canvas, I'm then just pulling it off of that wood frame. For this project, I'm also using 7 of these larger popsicle sticks from Dollar Tree. I need them to go along the back side of the canvas frame, and I just marked those off where I need them to be cut down. And what's great about these is these can actually be cut with scissors. So once I had one of them marked off and already cut down, I just used that as a guide to cut the rest of the 6 popsicle sticks the exact same size. Next, I'm painting my entire wood frame with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. I only did 1 coat of this paint, and this wood frame is actually really rough, and sometimes you get the rough wood on your frames underneath the canvases, and sometimes you have a more smooth wood. This one ended up being very rough, which I didn't mind because I wanted it to have a really rustic look. Once that ivory color was all dry, I then went in with my folk art chalk paint in the color Java, and I used a stencil brush to apply this paint. And since the wood around my frame was really rough, it was great for dry brushing because all of those little rough spots on my wood picked up that Java color really nicely to give me that rustic look that I was looking for. Now back to the popsicle sticks that I've already cut down. I'm using my Craft Smart wood stain in the color brown, and I'm using an old towel to apply the stain to all 7 of my cut down popsicle sticks. After the stain was all dry, I'm then hot gluing those to the back side of my painted frame. I just placed the hot glue on both sides of the frame and then placed the popsicle stick with the stain going forward onto the wood frame, and I just continued that same step until I had all 7 of them attached to the back of my frame. For this project, I'm also using these unfinished XO letters, and then I'm using 2 of these unfinished wood hearts from this assorted wood value pack from Dollar Tree. The wood letters, I believe, are from Walmart. I'm painting the wood letters with that Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory, and I only did 1 coat of paint for all 4 of my letters. And then for my heart, I did the large one with the Waverly paint in Ivory once again, and then the smaller heart I painted with my folk art chalk paint in the color Tuscan Red. Next, I'm using 3 of these red felt rose stickers from Dollar General. They did come in a pack of 9 for only $1. I'm removing the stickers off of the back of all of the roses because I'm going to be hot gluing mine in a cluster on the top left-hand corner of my sign. After I have all of my roses glued on, then I'm going to be attaching my XO letters. I just put them in place exactly where I want them to be before I start gluing them down, and I am using hot glue on the back side of each letter and then just pressing them back into place. For the last step, I'm attaching my 2 painted hearts in the top right-hand corner of my sign. I did the larger white heart on the bottom, and then I attached the smaller red heart right on top of the white heart. Here is the XO sign all finished. This is such a simple and cute accent piece to add to your decor this Valentine's Day. Now for DIY number 4, I'm making a floral box. For this project, I'm starting with one of these unfinished wood crates from Dollar Tree, and I'm also using my Craft Smart wood stain in the color brown. You guys know I love this stain. And I'm applying the stain using an old towel, and I'm just rubbing the stain on the entire wood crate. Now this crate does have like the little indentations on the 2 sides. So to get the stain in those little grooves, I am using a really small paintbrush just to paint the stain inside of the grooves. And then I'm using my towel just to wipe it off and remove any of the excess stain. Next, I'm going to be using some unfinished wood pieces from this assorted wood value pack from Dollar Tree. I'm using 4 of these wood circles, and I'm painting them with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory. I did 1 coat of this paint on all 4 circles. Then I'm using 4 of these mini unfinished wood hearts from that same value pack of wood, and I'm painting these with my folk art chalk paint in the color Tuscan Red. Now it's time to start assembling everything together. I'm using my 4 wood painted circles on the front side of my crate. I'm just getting those all into place before I start hot gluing each circle down. After I have all of my wood circles attached, I'm then attaching the red hearts that I painted right in the center of the wood circles using some hot glue. Next, I'm adding some of this floral foam to the very bottom of my wood crate. The foam I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I did have to cut one of my pieces down a little bit to get it to fit into the bottom of my crate. But once that was all in, then it was time to start placing some of my flowers inside of the foam. And for this one, I'm using some of these eucalyptus stems from Walmart. And then I also had some of these big roses just from over the years. I've had them from another project, and I decided to use them in today's project. So I'm cutting down the eucalyptus stems a little bit so that they could fit better in my wood crate. And I did have to cut like the tops of them off as well because they were a little bit too long. So I just started placing them in the foam where I wanted them to be, and then I was going to use 2 or 3 of those roses, but I actually ended up only using 1 right in the center of this piece because they are kind of large, and it ended up looking really beautiful. I think you can use any kind of flowers or roses that you want for this project, but these are just the ones that I chose to use. Once I had all of the eucalyptus stems and then the rose in the middle, I decided to add some of these little white like baby's breath flowers around the entire rose just to add a little something extra. This is my floral box all finished. Another easy and affordable project that would be perfect to add to your Valentine's Day decor this year. Now for the 5th and final DIY today, I'm making a Shadowbox sign. For my sign, I'm going to be using one of these square unfinished wood pieces from Michael's, and I'm painting this entire piece with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory, and I only did 1 coat of this paint. After that paint has completely dried, I'm then going in with a smaller paintbrush and my folk art chalk paint in the color Java, and I'm dry brushing this paint on the entire piece. I want this to have that nice rustic farmhouse look that I love so much. Then I'm painting this unfinished wood circle with my folk art chalk paint in the color Tuscan Red. These did come in a pack of, I believe, 5 unfinished wood circles, and I got them from Hobby Lobby. Then for this project, I'm using the numbers 1 and 4 for 14, and I'm painting them with my Waverly paint in the color Ivory, and these ones are from Dollar Tree. Once I have all that painted, then I'm using some of this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm just cutting it down to size so that it will fit to go around the center of my wood circle that I've painted, and I'm just hot gluing the 2 ends of that burlap ribbon along the back side of the circle so that it goes along the front. Next, I'm attaching my circle to my shadow box. I'm placing hot glue along the back side and then just pressing that right in the center of the box. And then to attach my numbers, I'm using hot glue along the back side of each number. This is my shadow box all finished. It is such a simple and easy, affordable project for Valentine's Day. So if you're looking for a quick project, this one would be perfect. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it. It really helps out my channel. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing, and please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you guys don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I would love to know which project from today was your favorite. Thank you so much for watching.